Takulandirani ku AMTV Malawi kuchimake kwa nkhani zenizeni. Ngati nkhani imeneyo kuno kulibe, dziwani kuti nkhani imeneyo ndi yabodza.
Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the office of the rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we ask you to behold with your abundant favors your servants, whom you have been pleased to go to the performance of important trusts in this land. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just, faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this country, and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen.
General business, communication from the chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I would like to inform you that we have a technical hiccup. Therefore, if you want to be recognized, you have to rise and then you press the hardware. Thank you very much. And just to express my disappointment that we have very few members in this house. I don't know what is happening. You are not even more than 30, if I can count. Thank you.
Government business, ministerial statements. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture to present a statement on agricultural research services.
Honorable Minister of Agriculture. Yes, proceed. Honorable Minister, use the other mic, the old mic.
Thank you, Madam Second Deputy Speaker. I'd like to express my appreciation and support that we've given the Minister of Agriculture the space to share with the honorable members of this august house on a number of updates that we are doing in the ministry, among of which is the agriculture research services. We can never talk about agriculture, productivity, commercialization, value addition, increasing productivity, if research is not focused on at the very beginning. The Agriculture Research Services in the ministry is mandated to provide and evaluate improved agriculture technologies for the farming community through 10 agriculture research stations across the country. It also offers agriculture regulatory and specialist services to various clients in the country. The services provided The services provide improved agriculture productivity in terms of crops and livestock, income and nutrition security. It ensures human and livestock safety and safeguards environmental degradation. The mandate is achieved in collaboration with the public and the private sector. In collaboration with partners in the 2022-2023 season, the ministry released 20 agriculture technologies, which include 4 wheat varieties, 1 botanical pesticide, neem, for control of 4 armyworms in the lower Shire, and 4 fertilizer types, including nano-urea, which we are going to launch this coming Wednesday for your information, which is relatively cheaper foliar fertilizer available on the market for use by farmers in place of chemical fertilizer urea. The wheat varieties are being commercialized by private seed companies, while the ministry is ensuring availability of early germination seed to the private sector. Madam Second Deputy Speaker, let me also inform the House that just last week, the ministry, through the Agriculture Technology Clearing Committee, ATCC, approved over 40 new technologies comprised of 29 crop varieties, 16 fertilizers, 1 pesticide, and 3 cropping systems. Among the fertilizers approved are organic chicken manure-based Mbeya and Funani organic fertilizers. The farmers wanting to make organic chicken manure-based Mbeya for use in their fields will be given the combination by the Ministry of Agriculture, which every individual wanting to produce their own commercial fertilizer must register with the Ministry for quality assurance. Funani organic fertilizer is available commercially in the Funani Organic Fertilizer Company outlets. Phytosanitary services. Through the ministry, the country gained access to the Chinese export market for soybeans and groundnuts. A protocol for the export of macadamia to the People's Republic of China has just been submitted for signing through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Therefore, farmers are encouraged to produce more of these crops following recommended agronomic practices for the export market. Furthermore, a memorandum of understanding on sanitary and phytosanitary measures between Malawi and Mozambique is ready for signing to facilitate trade between the two countries. Seed certification and quality assurance. Madam Second Deputy Speaker, let me inform this House that your ministry, through the Seed Services Unit, sampled and tested all seed distributed on the market, either the subsidy programs or commercial outlets, to ensure availability of high-quality seed for farmers. This high-quality seed is distributed through registered agro dealers, and each seed packet contains a scratch card seed packet, which has a label on it. All farmers purchasing these seeds are required to scratch the seed packet, the label, and send the reviewed code to 3015 number to verify the quality of the seed. The ministry is aware that there are other seed traders who are duping farmers and the ministry is taking action to curb the malpractice. Farmers are also encouraged not to empty the seed from the branded seed packs, as these are being used by these traders to pack fake seed and sell to them at a cheaper price. Fertilizer quality assurance. The ministry, in collaboration with partners, also verified the quality of the fertilizer offered for sale across the country. Just like the seed sector, the ministry is aware of the fake traders in the fertilizer sector and is taking action to curb the malpractice. Random samples are collected and sent to the laboratories for testing and to make sure that they maintain the quality that is needed. Any perpetrator of the malpractice will be brought to book and action will be taken, severe action to be very specific. Legislation. The ministry reviewed outdated legislation in order to update them, but also to align them with regional and international statuses. The Seed Act of 1996 and they have been drafted. The ministry plans to include a budget for the establishment of the Malawi Fertilizer Seed and Fertilizer Authority in the 2025-2026 budget. Madam Second Deputy Speaker, let me at this point thank the President, Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, for putting in place conducive policies for the research and development to enhance availability of improved technologies and regulatories, as well as specialist services in the country. I would also like to thank my fellow members of the Cabinet who have been providing support and guidance in ensuring that the right policies are enacted and developed. I would also like to thank you, Madam Second Deputy Speaker, and the whole House for the continued support to me personally and your Ministry of Agriculture to see that we have successful agriculture sector, which is driven by good research practices, as well as the development of technologies that will improve the agriculture sector in this country. I thank you, Madam Second Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, the floor is open for questions. And please, all questions should be based on what the Honorable Minister has said. We'll start with Zomba Antonia, and then Nchisi South. Is that Rumpi? Rumpi East. And, sorry? Zombali Sanjala, in that order, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for recognizing the people of Zomba Antonia. To comment, or rather to ask a question, or maybe to register concerns. Madam Speaker, I am on the record to have said in this House that the Ministry of Agriculture has downsized into an AIP institution, forgetting other equally important functions like research, extension services, and animal production. And I'm a bit happy to hear that something is being done in our research stations. But to say the truth, if you visit all the research stations that we have in this country, Makoka, Vumbwe, Gabu, Chiteze, you find out that the activities that are happening there now, in comparison to what was happening maybe some few years ago, is totally different. Because they are just staying as ruins. We're not doing enough. We're not doing enough. You know, Madam Speaker, when you look at the varieties of groundnuts that we have
Honorable
in this
Member,
country,
I think you are debating.
Yeah, it's a preamble to my question, Madam Speaker. It's a preamble. I want to give a proper perspective,
But
as
you
this
don't have
issue is very
that much
important for
time.
this country, to this country. When you look at the varieties of groundnuts that we have in this country, most of them were developed by our researchers, the Chalimbanas, the CG7. These are varieties produced by our local researchers, rice varieties, a lot of things. But today, Madam Speaker, as a country, we need to do something. So my question is, Honorable Minister, what plans have you put in place to revive our research stations? Because, you know, it is through research where we can decide or where we can establish what type of fertilizer can be distributed to which area. Because it doesn't make sense for one type of fertilizer to be applied across the country, yet we have different soil pHs, different soil structures, but we're using single fertilizer. it is not producing enough. It cannot produce the intended outcomes from distributing one kind of fertilizer across the country. I'd like to know what has he put in place to revive, to do research, the research that this country can indeed benefit. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, the people of Zomba Antonia. Nchese South.
Thank you very much, Madam Second Deputy Speaker. Welcome, Madam. We missed you.
Thank you. I missed you all too.
Thank you. Madam Second Deputy Speaker, through you, let me thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, my brother, my neighbor, for bringing in this report in Parliament. A very important report and presented in here very, very eloquently. 18 and the like, these were actually produced by the research stations. And this actually stabilized the price of seed on the market. Madam Speaker, and after looking at this, I am actually asking if at all this can be revisited so that private sectors should be allowed to grow seed as they are doing, but also government should come in maybe to produce seed and multiply seed so that the price on the market should stabilize. I'm saying this, Madam Speaker, program of AIP and all the fertilizers can be used, but when these are applied to seed which has been replanted, definitely the results are not that all of us would want to be. So this is why I'm actually asking my minister to say, can't we revisit so that we should not leave the seed multiplication and seed production to private companies?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Second Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, just to remind you that question time is only 2 minutes. So your question should be within that. Thank you. Rumpi East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As Second Deputy Speaker, mine will be a question. Before I do that, may I also thank the Minister for coming up with that ministerial statement, which to me, it is indeed talking about the ministry, what they're doing and exactly what he's intending to do. But my question is, the people of Rump East, if you look at the way how they got these coupons, it is quite sad. Now I wanted to ask the minister if at all there's any plan that would improve.
Honorable member, did the minister talk anything to do with coupons?
No, what I'm trying to say, instead of giving people per chief coupons, but the one chief was getting one coupon. So my question to the minister is, would you please assist the people of Rump East so that they can actually have access into fertilizer, into where fertilizer distribution is taking place? That was my question, but I wanted just to give a background about what is happening in my constituency. Thank you, Second Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, please ask your questions based on what the Honorable Minister has said. Zombali Sanjala.
Thank you, Second Deputy Speaker, for giving chance to the people of Zombali Sanjala. The people of Zombali Sanjala would like, first of all, to thank the Honorable Minister for a brief and precise presentation. Thank you so much. And also for inspiring people that there is a lot happening in agriculture. Honorable Minister, I'd like to find out why organic fertilizer is not being considered for the AIP program. If you look at the organic fertilizer versus chemical fertilizer, organic fertilizer has more benefits than organic fertilizer. I just wanted to appreciate why organic fertilizer is being sidelined in the AIP program. The second question, Madam Second Speaker, I'm wondering why in the Ministry of Agriculture, where we have very competent scientists, are not able to produce seeds that can be planted and replanted as many times as the farmers want, just as we used to do with the local variety maize. I'm sure this can be done. It's just the policies that we have in place that are perhaps prohibiting the scientists that we have in the agriculture to be able to do that. The last one, which is just an addition to the question that I have just asked, Honorable Minister, this technology of producing seeds, the seeds that can be replanted only once, why are we not taking this technology, this knowledge, to the local people so that they can reproduce themselves, the seeds? I think we are making our farmers very vulnerable as far as the seed aspect is concerned. Thank you so much, Second Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. Honorable Minister, may you respond to those questions?
Thank you very much, Madam Second Deputy Speaker. Zomba Ntonya, if you were looking at me, I was smiling because you were saying something that also bothers me so much. And I'm very happy that you are also passionate to see that the research stations should be up to date. One thing that I try to avoid when I talk about the Ministry of way of doing things have changed. We are supposed to adopt and adapt the new technologies and to do something better. Privileged to visit a few research stations outside the country who are doing things that are similar to what we are doing in the ministry, but they're doing it better, professionally, with great yield. I'll give you a very good example. One of these research stations here in Malawi, in Salima, has over 200 hectares of land, and they're only using 12% of that land. The remaining 88% is lying idle. Yet the research stations has dilapidated equipment, buildings, and you name it. Can we start commercializing the research stations? Those are the discussions we are having in the Ministry of Agriculture. I visited some of the research stations, even in Zomba. I was there. A very beautiful one, but is heavily underutilized. And then you also find that there's modern equipment that is big enough, but they don't use it at the research station because these are maker farm equipment, but being used at the research stations. Misaligning of resources within the research station. So to answer his question, what plans do we have to revive these research stations to not go back to how it used to be, but how can we make it better? So as a ministry, we are working, first of all, we've gone into agreements with different universities around the country. We have signed a number of memorandum of understandings for them to come and invest in our research stations and to help us to run the research stations to make them better. In China, we've signed a memorandum of understandings with 2 universities, and then we've also signed a memorandum of understanding with North Carolina State University, who have already come. They're working with the Department of Research, they're working with Luana, they're working with MAST, they're also working, I could be wrong, but also Mzuni. The idea is to make sure that we upgrade our research stations so that they are run professionally, they are run commercially, and they're producing the yield that is expected from them. Now, the issue of fertilizer, development of different types of fertilizer for different types of soil, I would want to remind the honorable member from Zomba Ntonya that I came to this house if 2 or 3 sittings that we had, where I did explain that the Ministry of Agriculture has developed 6 types of fertilizers that are going to be developed or produced for Malawi. We now have we've done soil tests for the whole country. We've done soil mapping for the whole country. Now, because every soil is different, we can't have 100 or 200 different types of fertilizers for our farmers to use. So what we've done is we've narrowed down to 6 types of fertilizers that are supposed to be used for a specific region. Now, the 6 types of fertilizers, our fertilizer producers have the ability to produce that. So yes, we already have that in place. We've had it for the last 8 or 10 months. We made it known to a lot of Malawians. So Zomba and Tonya, yes, we've done a great job on that one. Our soil scientists have done an amazing job to have soil-specific fertilizers on top of crop-specific fertilizers. And Chisi South was asking about the issue of seed becoming expensive. And his question was, can we have seed produced by government agencies like the way they used to do at Chidedze to stabilize the price? Now, let me give a little bit of a background, specifically to give the context of the issue of seed currently in Malawi. There is a huge demand for seed. There's actually a scramble for seed in Malawi, which is a good problem to have. Let me put it that way. Firstly, on the bad side is seed was not produced in the quantities that we need because of the cyclone we had 2 years ago, and then the El Nino. So because of those dry spells, seed production went down. But when we were starting the year, we had availability of enough seed, both for all the activities that we have in the agriculture sector. However, for the first time in so many years, maybe for the first time in the history of Malawi, we have thousands of farmers who have now gone to do commercial farming for the first time ever in our history, which is a very good problem, because a lot of members of parliament in this house, they are now benefiting from the mega farm support unit. A lot of farmers in here, they've gone to have access to financing because they want to be part of the movement of agricultural productivity in this country. So I would like to applaud every one of you who have understood the vision of Dr. Jaguera to say, let's end hunger by being involved in agriculture to produce. And that is exactly what is happening. I am very proud of everyone who has gone to the field to do farming. And because we now have thousands of hectares that have been added to the already hectareage that we've been farming in the past, that has also caused a shortage of seed on the market. 2 days ago, also one of the staff members right here in the Hansard's department also texted to say, I now have land, but I can't find seed anywhere. So not only the members of parliament are going into farming, even your staff members, even maybe the front desk right here, the table clerks, some of them are also into farming, which is good. But even your staff members, Madam Second Deputy Speaker, they're into farming and they can't find seed, which is, as I said, it's a good problem to have because more people are going to farming, which has put also a lot of pressure on the availability of seed. So, but there is a remedy because there's been a shortage of seed because of demand, but also because of Cyclone Freddy 2 years ago, as well as the issue of El Nino. We have worked with the seed companies to bring in as much seed as they can, but at the same time, we are also encouraging a lot of farmers to go into seed multiplication. So those who are going into mega farms, there is a special program where we are providing funding for mega farmers to invest in irrigation. Because we can't produce enough seed just by rain-fed, we need to do irrigation as well. So there's going to be more seed produced over the next couple of months through rain-fed as well as irrigation to meet the demand that we are experiencing right now. Unfortunately, our role as a Minister of Agriculture at Chidedze Research Station, we are not mandated to do the actual seed multiplication. Our role is to develop seed that can be produced commercially. Now that is where, as a government, we can use one of our entity or two of our entities, which is ADMAC, as well as National Food Reserve Agency, who can, one, subcontract farmers to do seed multiplication for them, or two, because ADMAC has access to land, then we can use that land for seed multiplication for us to have enough seed in the country. I have taken long to explain this because I wanted to give a context as to why there's a shortage of seed on the market right now. But as a ministry, we are aware of that. We have the remedy of bringing in more seed from outside the country. And at the same time, we're anticipating that this trend will continue over the next couple of years. And we are putting in place measures or strategies to make sure that we never run out of seed again in this country. I'll jump Rumpi East. I'll go to Zomba Lisanjala. Why is organic fertilizer being sidelined in subsidy programs? Well, Madam Second Deputy Speaker, I am pleased to inform Zomba Lisanjala through you that at cabinet level, we already approved the use of organic fertilizer for different programs in the country. Now, for that to happen, our research department had to release the right technologies. They are the technologies that are developed outside the country, but also those can be produced locally. What we wanted was not everyone just to come up with organic fertilizer that is also going to destroy the soil or the crops. We needed to have very good chemical composition. Now, the good thing about it is, one, in terms of policy-wise, we already approved the use of organic fertilizer commercially as well as in the subsidy programs. On top of that, we're already working with the World Bank who are going to roll out a program where 36,000 farmers will benefit from the use of organic fertilizer that is going to be used in this farming season. So that is like a trial phase on how we can have subsidy farmers, 36,000 of them, in all the 12 districts of the country. We are choosing 2,000 farmers per EPS who are going to have access to this organic fertilizer this season moving onwards. We are going to announce the names later on. Not only that, but when I was making my statement, I did talk about the issue of Mbeya fertilizer to say this is the technology that has been developed. It has been used for years. It has now officially been approved that anyone can use it. Now, what we need is now the commercial farmer, the commercialization of this one. Right now, the Ministry of Agriculture, we are encouraging every farmer to make the organic fertilizer on their own. And I'm very, very happy that hundreds and thousands of farmers, they are already using Mbeya fertilizer, which they're producing on their own. But because we know that not every farmer can produce Mbeya on their own, that's why we're working with companies like Nkokwe company in Liwonde. They are making organomineral fertilizers. And then we are also working with another company that we are promoting. They're also doing organic fertilizer, make commercially. So all what is needed is just to bring those under the government programs to say these can be accessed to farmers. And the good thing is those fertilizers are cheaper, but highly effective for our farmers. The advantage with organic fertilizer is it fixes the soil in terms of pH levels. It also fixes the soil in terms of putting the carbon back into the soil. It saves a lot of money for the farmers because it's cheaper, but at the same time, it increases yield whenever they're using it, so that way they have more food and disposable income at the end of it. So it has multiple benefits, and that's why I'm very happy Zomba Lisanjala brought it up to say organic fertilizer should be the future of agriculture productivity in Malawi. For your information, Madam Second Deputy Speaker, actually Malawi, we are lagging behind. Our friends in Tanzania have moved towards organic fertilizer. Our friends in Kenya, they've already moved that direction. Our friends in Burundi, they are going in that direction. They are doing already 500,000, 1 million tons of organic fertilizer. So Malawi, we are lagging behind, but after releasing these technologies last month, then we are doing the commercial production locally. Oh, by the way, organic fertilizer also saves forex because we'll be producing it locally. So that way we'll be able to have more of it whenever we need it. So we've done our part. We are now looking for men and women who can take up the challenge to say, I'm going to go and do commercial production of organic fertilizer so that we can address these problems. So we've done our part, and I would like to invite everyone who would like to commercialize these technologies to come forward. In terms of seed, why are we not developing seed that can be replanted? Well, Madam Second Deputy Speaker, the Minister of Agriculture, with your permission, I would like to ask, maybe I need to come back with another ministerial statement so that I can list down all these technologies for the benefit of everyone. Now, the Minister of Agriculture, for the past couple of years, we have approved the use of seed types, which is known as, abbreviation is OPV, Open Pollinated Varieties. The open pollinated varieties, these are the seed types that you can replant. So those seeds are already available. So the open or the OPV seeds are on the market at the moment, but it's all a matter of marketing. Because the hybrid and the OPV are approved by us, and we are letting people commercialize them. The ones who are commercializing the OPV ones might not have a big budget for publicity for people to know compared to the other hybrid varieties, but the seed is available. And we had an open day a few months ago where we invited everyone in Malawi to come and see these varieties. So it's not just one type of OPV. We have several types of OPV that farmers can go and buy, they can plant, they harvest, they can plant again the next season or the next cycle. So I'd like to encourage those who are worried that the seed prices are up for the hybrid varieties to say they are cheaper OPV varieties that they can use now and reuse again in the next farming cycle. You will continue to hear a lot from the Minister of Agriculture talking about cycles and not seasons, because we're moving away from relying on rain-fed, we are focusing on irrigation. So because of irrigation, you don't have to plant once a year, but you can do 2 or 3 times a year for each cycle. So Zombali Sanjala, we do have the OPV varieties available. We just have to let people know which ones are commercializing this one. The last question was, why can't farmers produce on seed? Well, we have a Seed Act, which this House also passed. The Seed Act provides very strict guidelines on how someone can do seed multiplication. The reason is we want to protect the genes of that particular seed so that there's no cross-pollination. So that's why for you to do seed multiplication, you need to be properly certified. And you undergo very strong scrutiny processes to make sure that you maintain the true type of that type of seed you are growing. So if we just let it open for anyone to do seed multiplication on their own, then we will end up having the seed types that are not helping this country at all. And that is what we are trying to avoid. And that's why this House passed the seed bill to make sure that we are protecting the genes or specific crops that we are producing. I'll be very happy if I can take 17 more questions on this one, Madam Second Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Let me have the last set of questions. Honorable Minister, we don't have enough time. I'll start with, yes, after you, honorable member there, Mulanje Central. Sorry, honorable members.
Thank you.
Sorry, honorable members. I use 4 eyes, but with me here it's only 2, so I can't see far. Honorable Leader of Opposition.
Thank you. Thank you, Second Deputy Speaker, Madam. And through you, let me thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture for his presentation. My question on behalf of the people of Mlanje Southwest. Honorable Minister, you have said that there have been an MOU which has been agreed with those people who will buy soya, and that the prospects are good. What guarantees can you provide or are built in the MOU that those people who have said they will buy, they will not change their mind later when in their own country perhaps they have an increase of production? In saying this, Honorable Minister, I'm taking into account that in the past there was guarantees made by a certain country that they would buy pigeon pea. But later on, the farmers in Malawi were let down when they were told that they had sufficient pigeon peas produced in their own country. As a result, the people suffered tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Leader. Mulanje Central, who is also the president of PDP.
Thank you, Second Deputy Speaker. Through you, let me also thank the Honorable Minister of Agriculture for the elaborate presentation. In the presentation, or in one of the responses, the Minister has talked about a specific issue, a very good issue to me, a very good concept, which is about soil-specific fertilizers. This is a very good concept because Malawi has lost a lot economically because of this willy-nilly application of fertilizers to our soils. Now, I want to find out from the Minister that when actually are we rolling out this concept, the soil-specific fertilizers? We need to take it very seriously, and by so doing, I think we shall have a sustainable way of improving our yields, because we'll be applying specific fertilizers to specific soils, which is economic in nature, but also it will result in bumper use. So this issue needs to be taken seriously, and again, being promoted so that people there know that we have this concept. And maybe in the near future, you could come again in the House with a specific presentation on these soil-specific fertilizers. I thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We do not have more questions. May you please respond to those two. Honorable Member, that's Choro South West.
Choro Southwest, thank you.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Second Deputy Speaker, for giving us, the people of Cholo, Masapanjati, to ask the Minister of Agriculture on an issue that he has presented, which is a very good concept. He insisted specifically on soil-specific fertilizer.
Honorable Member, allow the Minister to get the question, please. Proceed, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. You insisted much on soil-specific fertilizer. But I know at Chiteze here, they also do soil-specific crops. And where I come from, Cholo, Masambanjati, the only crops that do well is cassava and intoji, bananas. The people of Cholo, Masambanjati would benefit if the ministry could also do this analysis so that apart from Nando, Lontoji, and Chinangwa, we can also, grow maize, which is usually, commonly, as a staple food in the constituency. I submit, Madam Second Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable Minister.
Madam Second Deputy Speaker, the first question from Mulanje South was he wanted to find out, or he wanted an assurance that there will not be any changes with the MOUs that have been signed. Specifically, he was worried, the MOUs I talked about were to do with soybeans. I'll go a little bit back to explain the context again. So the Ministry of Agriculture, together with the Ministry of Trade, we've been working so hard to make sure that we have access to international markets for our products. And we are very happy that when the Chinese government accepted our request to be exporting some of the products to their country, they gave us the phytosanitary conditions for us to meet. Now, the good thing is we didn't just go with one item that we wanted, but we said, this is what Malawi can produce. Now, it was up to them to say, okay, these are the things we can get from Malawi. So they gave us about 5 things. I'll try to see if I can remember all of them. The first one was soybeans. The second one was groundnuts. The third one was chili. And then we also had, I think, fish. I'm not sure if the Minister of Trade, you remember the 5th one. But then we also added another one. We said, can we start exporting macadamia as well? Now, for each value chain, there are conditions that we're supposed to meet. So the one that was approved quick enough, it was soybeans. Because in China, they eat a lot of soy and the demand is huge. And by accepting that we should export to China, they were able to project that their production levels in the next so many years was not going to meet the demand that they currently have or the demand that we'll have in the future. And after soy, they also approved the phytosanitary requirements that they gave us for groundnuts. So the assurance that I can give at the moment is that at the moment, we have an indefinite supply of these products to China because they need them a lot. So that is the only assurance I can give you, because they don't just procure for the sake of making us happy, but they also see what they need in their country to consume. Now, he gave an example of the fear that he had, which was with pigeon peas. Now, the issue of pigeon peas, I don't know if our standing orders allow, but this is something that even the Minister of Trade can chip in, if you allow me, if you could do that. But from us,
No problem, you can come in.
You can come in. So, would you like to come in now? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Second Deputy Speaker. I think just to add to what my colleague, the Minister of Agriculture, said regarding the pigeon peas, we looking at China and India as our biggest markets for pigeon peas for our farmers. But also just to say that India is also a very good destination for our pigeon peas. We had a 50,000 metric ton MOU with India, but somewhere around about January, this farming season, last season, it was made open-ended. So it became unlimited so that our farmers can now sell Nandolo to India without a quota. We believe that as we try to clear issues with the Chinese market, the Indian market is quota-free, and our farmers do have access to the Indian pigeon pea market. If they will have a problem as our exporters of pigeon peas, it will not be a market problem. It could be something else which the Ministry of Trade is willing to engage those who would be exporters of pigeon peas to see how we handle and deal with such kind of issues. But we do have a market, and it's quota-free and it's unlimited, at least for India. Thank you, Right Honorable Second Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you very much, Minister of Trade, for giving the context and also the explanation. And I hope this will help Mulanje South be at ease in terms of the assurances.
The honorable member standing over there at the back, you're out of order. Honorable member, what's going on? Looking for what? But you have been standing there for a long time. That's why I was wondering. Honorable Minister, please proceed.
Thank you very much. Mulanje Central. No, there was, so there was Mulanje,
Order, honorable
Southwest,
members.
and then there was Mulanje Central afterwards. Yeah. Mulanje Central was interested with the soil-specific fertilizers. The question was, when are we rolling out this concept? I am pleased to inform you, or to inform him through you, Madam Second Deputy Speaker, that the rollout of the soil-specific fertilizers has already happened. In fact, before we released the formulas for the 6 soil-specific fertilizers, we had tested them already. So when we tested them, we worked with the fertilizer blending companies to blend those fertilizers to be used across the country. When we officially released these formulas, we went back to the fertilizer companies and then started to ask them to start producing the soil-specific fertilizers. What we are now doing is to work with the producers, because this is supposed to be done commercially, but together with the Department of Agriculture research station, as well as our extension services, we are working to make people know that there are soil-specific fertilizers for them to use in their fields. Not only that, but even when we're having different public engagements, we are also taking advantage of these things. So in terms of rolling out, we already rolled out. We just need to do a lot of publicity. A lot of people still don't know it, but those who are in this industry, they know about these soil-specific ones and they are doing it. Now, let me also say that commercial farmers, a lot of commercial farmers in Malawi, they're already doing the soil-specific fertilizers to increase production. That's why you find that commercial farmers, the yields are better because they understand their soils better and they get the fertilizers that they need. Cholo Southwest, yes, it's true. We have the soil-specific fertilizer, and at the same time, we also have the soil-specific crops. And further to that, we also have crop-specific fertilizers. There's also that. But your focus was on soil-specific crops. Now, the concept of soil-specific crops is not new in Malawi. We have been doing it for decades. It's just that over the past years, a lot of people have started moving away from understanding the importance of soil-specific crops, and they start producing crops that are not specific for that soil. We have mapped the whole country already, where we show people to say this crop is ideal in this area. Or, to put it better, we encourage farmers to grow a specific crop in the specific area. I'll give a very good example. It is common knowledge for everyone to say that pigeon peas Nandolo does extremely well in Mulanje, Palombe, Cholo, Chigwawa areas. So that is common knowledge. So that one is it's a soil-specific crop, which we have been encouraging for a very long time. Not only that, we have areas like Balaga, Liwonde, where everybody knows, it's common knowledge, maize doesn't do well. But if you take crops like cotton, even pigeon peas, you can even do sesame, crops that don't need a lot of water, they do extremely well. So the extension services, but also the information that has been going out in Malawi, we have brainwashed people to think that they can grow, say, for example, maize anywhere in the country. That is just impossible. So a lot of Malawians have been brainwashed to think that if they don't grow maize in that area, then it's doom their lives. But what we say is, here are crops that are supposed to grow in that area. They are high-value crops so that you can get more money from what you have produced and then use that money to go and buy the food that you want. So that's why we also need to do a lot of good job as the Minister of Agriculture and the private sector to start teaching people of soil-specific crops so that they can get the maximum yield that they need. So we'll continue to do that, but also this is where the commercial farming mentality also needs to come in. People should learn to produce high-value crops, which they can sell at good prices. The Minister of Agriculture has done an excellent job together with Minister of Trade to come up with very good prices, farm gate prices. Like last season, almost every crop that was sold, people made a lot of money, and we intend to keep it that way. No crop should be produced that would make a farmer make losses. But every crop that is going to be produced in Malawi, every farmer needs to make profit so that their livelihood starts going up. So yes, the soil-specific crops are there. We have the data, we have the chart. We just need to let people know so that they can get the benefits from their hard work. Thank you very much, Madam Second Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Osaiwala kupanga subscribe ku channel ya AMTV